Hello and welcome to The Rest is Football with Micah Richards, Alan Shearer and me, Gary Lineker. It's FA Cup third round weekend, one of the great highlights really, isn't it, of the footballing calendar. We've been treated to a couple of early heavyweight clashes, not many surprises. Spurs were pushed all the way by non-league Tamworth into extra time, but we're actually all fresh from just working together. I mean, long time no see, chaps, but it's an hour since we left, or an hour and a half since we left the Emirates. I've managed to get home because it's I live in London. Where are you, Micah? Can you say?
See if you can guess.
You're at a friend's house.
Mm-hmm. Oh, whoa. Can you be a bit more specific?
I don't know whether it's a secret or not, Thierry.
I
nearly called you Thierry because you're at Thierry Henry's house.
Hold on. You said friend's house. That could mean absolutely anything, Gary.
Well, it could also be Thierry Henry. Alan looks like he's borrowed Micah's car. He's on the way back to Newcastle now.
Yep, on the way back up north, yeah. Long trip.
What's your ETA?
What's ETA, Andre? 5 to 12. 5 to 12.
5 to 12. It's currently 7:51. You left over an hour ago. My goodness me.
Why don't you just go home in the morning?
Because then I waste half tomorrow travelling as well. I might as well do it when the roads are going to be relatively quiet.
Yeah, that's why I always come back from Match of the Day, because otherwise it kills the next day as well.
Exactly.
And travelling, you got to get up. You sleep in a hotel somewhere.
Yeah, exactly.
Rubbish. Or you can sleep at Thierry Henry's house. But we know you're just good friends. It's okay. Well, the first half of the game we just watched between Arsenal and Manchester United was fairly turgid, but it really livened up after that. And I was pleased, really, for a lot of my Manchester United friends, including one of my eldest son, George, who they've not had much to cheer for a long time, but to win a penalty shootout at Arsenal is something.
Yeah, I mean, I know Arsenal missed a host of chances, but when you work that hard and you stick together like we did, because they were down to 10 men for, large parts of the second half and obviously extra time, and they had to defend heroically at times, and they did. And I'm pleased for them, to be honest. I mean, you say whatever you want as an Arsenal fan, but I thought, they weren't good enough to score the goals against Man United. So when that happens, you miss penalties, you don't take your chances, you go out. So well done, Man United, and they've got a decent draw as well. So I think there's certainly small steps
What do you
of
mean?
improvement.
What do you mean a decent draw?
Well, they've got a home draw.
Home draw, you should say.
They've got your team, Leicester. They've got a home draw.
Yeah, but you can see it. Ruud van Nistelrooy going back to Old Trafford, leading the mighty Foxes to a triumph. Obviously, when Leicester won the Cup that year, they beat United in the quarterfinals, although that was at the King Power Stadium. As for your team, Micah, well,
My team? Is that how you're addressing it now?
The team that I caught you talking to Theo before the game saying, I think we're going to win this. You used the term. I caught him, Alan. It's there. I heard him say we.
The pylon of Man United fans is about to start, Micah.
Oh, my God. I want an easy life. I did say, when it went to penalty kicks, I'm an impartial pundit, and, whoever wins deserves it. But, I mean, you've already let the secret out the bag. I love Man City and I love Arsenal. Simple as that, guy.
And you're staying at Thierry Henry's house. Yeah.
Oh, but anyway, going to the game, Gary, I think we need to give Man United a lot of credit in terms of
Absolutely.
The togetherness. We can talk about systems. We can talk about 3-4-3 as much as we want, how it works, how it doesn't work. You asked me on BBC the pros and cons, and we can elaborate a little bit more on that tonight. But it was just, how many times have we talked about the players looking like they don't care? Not giving the effort, not giving the desire, but they're now, okay, in today's game, they rode the look at times. It could have been 4 or 5 for Arsenal had they take the chances, but they didn't crumble. And that is a difference. Alan was talking about Man City and Jack Grealish, which we'll come on to a little bit later, about having a moment that just, you can hang on to something, whether that be scoring a penalty, whether that getting an assist. We talk in the media about him not scoring a goal for so long, and then he gets a goal, a penalty against Salford. But who cares? And I just think with Man United, they're not playing brilliantly well. They've still got a lot of work to do offensively, but to play out the game after Dalot got sent off, which is a silly second yellow card, for them to hold on, I just thought it's a new maturity we're seeing. It's not a fact of, that they're amazing now and we don't want to be reactionary, but we have to give them credit in terms of their spirit.
Do you think it suits them a little bit, perhaps, playing against the more successful team, shall we say, at present? Obviously, a really good draw at Liverpool, and then the similar sort of effort and performance against Arsenal wasn't quite as entertaining. They weren't quite as end-to-end, but then they were limited to 10 men after, well, not that long, really, in the second half. But I think what they've got to prove to the fans now is they can also lift themselves, because it's easier motivating yourselves when you play Liverpool or Arsenal. Then next game is Southampton at home. Now, they have to show that it's not just the fact that they're underdogs and they can counter and they can rear guard action and all that sort of stuff. They've got to prove that now, haven't they?
Yeah, I mean, I'm not so much the attitude and what have you. I just think it's that style of play suits so many of those players because they're comfortable being in a low block defensively. Or they had the legs in midfield to cover the ground, which they hadn't 2 or 3 weeks ago. And they've got quick players on the break that can hurt you. So, and they're clever, I mean, Bruno Fernandes is a really clever player, and his goal today I thought was outstanding. And the way Garnacho got into that position and sort of squared it for him. So, I think that style of play suits them when they've got a team that's willing to come at them and attack them. Their big test now is that when they're going to play against the so-called lesser teams who probably will sit in themselves, so United might have to attack them, and that's where they're going to have to improve in forward positions. And
also at the back, because when you're more attacking against the side, your back line is higher. Now that doesn't necessarily suit De Ligt and Maguire are not perhaps the quickest on the turn, but they're really happy, those two players, aren't they, when they're sitting in there, heading everything out, blocking shots. I mean, they can both play with the ball as well, but in terms of defensive, if they're on the halfway line, then they can be exposed to the counter-attack themselves.
Yeah, I would certainly agree with that. But again, who would you say the greatest centre-half or top 3 centre-halves in the Premier League history has been? We'd all say John Terry. And John Terry wasn't rapid, but he reads a game so well. And I think positioning is the next step. So if you look at the system, they say 3 at the back, it was 5 at the back. There's times when they play against Southampton, they're going to be 3 at the back, three centre-halves. Your wing-backs are going to be a lot higher, but then it's just about reading where the ball's going to go. I think that is what they can improve on. They will improve on. But the reason why you play wing-backs is because you're adding an extra body in a forward position. And when we talked on BBC earlier on, it was more about the fact that if United are going to stay in his formation, which we all know they are, the manager's not going to change. I do think for them to go to that next step, they need players with better technical ability in them, because Dalot can play in a back 3. He can play right at the 3 if need be. Mazraoui has played there. He's played in midfield. He's played at number 10 as well. Very good on one-on-one situations. So when you talk about 3 defenders being exposed to pace, you can actually play fullbacks in that 3 as well, but then have someone in them attacking players, wing-backs, who can do both, I think that would be the next step. But I just think it's nice to speak positively about Man United after week in, week out talking about the same things. They can hold on to something now. And I think that's the most important thing for the players and the club moving forward.
Yeah, and make sure it's not a false dawn and have the same commitment against the clubs at the other end of the table. As for Arsenal, well, I mean, you don't need to be Einstein to work out what their problem is. They just, they've got no one really that's prolific enough to score important goals in tight games like that at present. Last season, the season before, and even earlier in this season, they rely on goals from all different parts of the game, but they've mostly been reliant on corners a lot this season from open play. We saw it again today. Sometimes the ball goes down the wide area and then they recycle it and then it goes out and eventually, towards the end, they were trying to cross balls in, but from not great angles. What do they need to do? I mean, apart from the blindingly obvious, and try and get a goal-scoring centre forward, but we all know they are very difficult to find.
Just before you go on this, Al, I would just like to say you can win the league without a striker. Man City have done it. Have proven
well,
that.
They went close. They went pretty close.
But you need your wide players to chip in with more goals. Al's better place to talk about striking and the movements and all those sort of things. But the fact that he's so reliant on Saka or Havertz having an off day, like midfielders as well can chip in. That's the whole point with the system that they play, having movement, playing free in midfield so they can make them late man runs into the box. But they're just not doing that, Then it comes more apparent that person in a forward area, in that number 9 position, if they're not going to chip in with goals, it becomes more obvious.
Well, Alan, you had the perfect view from the gangtree, didn't you? I mean, I must say, for what is a relatively new ground, the TV facilities and studio at the ground are not very good at the Emirates. You'll be stuck in a corner, and you can't, unless you stand up to the right-hand side, you cannot see anything. I mean, obviously those things are designed for people to go and sit outside, but you can't do that on TV. But you can only see half the pitch, so you end up having to watch it on telly, which seems a shame from when you go in there. But what was your view with that expansive view that you had from the halfway line?
My view was amazing, having a look down and having a look at all of the players. Yeah, but yeah, you're right. I mean, I said afterwards, I suppose the time you'd really worry is if they're not creating any chances, and they still were creating chances today. They just didn't have the ability or the killer instinct to put the ball away. I mean, they had 4, maybe 5 really, really good chances that should have been in the back of the net, but for good goalkeeping and really poor finishing, then he would have been in the next round. But Arteta said the same against Newcastle, and then they were against Brighton. I mean, I said it at the beginning of the season, I felt as if they needed a striker to go to the next level, a centre forward to go to the next level to win them the league, and that's looking as if that's going to be the case. And when you look at the number of goals from open play this season, I think they're 8th or 9th in the league in terms of that. So that sort of tells you that he's taking a huge gamble and not improving in that position.
Can I ask you a question, Alan? Is the screen on the ceiling in that car? Or are you just laid back? Because you just look like you're just laying back there, comfortable on the way back, like looking at this. Either that, or you're looking at all those stars that we can see in the car.
There is a screen up above my head, yeah.
Oh, there is, yeah.
There is, yeah. There is, yeah. Can you see it? Look.
Yeah. Oh, right, gotcha. That's it. That explains it. I just thought you're either that or you were trying to stay awake.
I thought you were talking about the microphone in my hand, saying, what the hell's that thing you got in your hand?
That's a long time since you've had any fluff near your head.
Just a little fluffy thing in my hand, yeah. They need a centre forward anyway. I think that's pretty obvious.
I think they really do. Okay, that's the game that we covered today. Let's take a breather there, and when we come back, we'll talk about some of the highlights of the third round FA Cup weekend. Welcome back to The Rest is Football with Micah Richards, Alan Shearer and me, Gary Lineker, discussing the FA Cup matches that have been going on. But before that, big news in the Super Cup in Spain. The latest half-time score there is Barcelona 4, Real Madrid 1. I just thought we're recording this on Sunday evening and we've all just got back from the football. But yeah.
Who scored? Yamin Lamal.
He got one. Lewandowski, Rafinha and Balde. Mbappe took the lead, Real Madrid as well. They'd have been all cocky, that lot. Anyway, so hopefully they'll hang on to that. You were at Manchester City's game, Alan. It was a fairly comfortable victory.
Just a bit, yeah. I mean, once they scored the early goal, it was just a matter of how many they were going to get. Having said that, they went 2 up, and then Salford missed a really big opportunity. Kwasi, I think it was, had it from a free kick. It would have made it 2-1. Just before half-time, but he missed that, and then City went up straight away and got the third goal, and then you feared for them in the second half, and that's exactly what happened. But yeah, he changed his team around. He still kept some experience in there, but he gave an opportunity to players who have not had game time, i.e. Jack Grealish, McAtee, and 1 or 2 others.
McAtee got a hat-trick.
McAtee got a hat-trick, Grealish got a penalty. I was delighted to see him get up and, as he was fouled, get up and take it himself and stick it away. And that might just give him the confidence he needs going forward into the rest of the season. So yeah, it was a really positive day for Man City and Pep, albeit against Salford. I mean, I hope it doesn't affect their season, Salford, because they're flying high in the league. They're third in the league. They've won 6 on the spin. They hadn't conceded. And so I hope that doesn't damage them too much.
Yeah, I think perhaps the most interesting thing around that game was also the stories of possible transfers. They talk about Eintracht Frankfurt's Omar Marmoush coming over, who's been terrific this season. Uzbeki defender Abdulkader Kusanov, I hope I said that right, and also the fact that Kyle Walker, Pep said in his post-match interview, didn't he, said that Kyle Walker had come to him and said he'd like to move, and he was left out of the squad. And he also talked about the importance and significance that Kyle Walker and the part that he's played in the success of his time and how important he was to the way he played at Manchester City.
Yeah, well, he's one of the best ever fullback to grace the Premier League. I don't think that's a debate whether he's the best or not, him or Gary Neville. I think Gary Neville on longevity might just edge it, but what he's given to this team has been nothing short of sensational. I remember a couple of seasons ago where there was grumbles of him potentially leaving, and then I think it was Bayern Munich who wanted to do something with a deal. He decided to stay, wins 2 more Premier Leagues. He's just been exceptional. I think for the way that Pep's wanted to play, in terms of that going into that 3 at the back shape, and Kyle Walker's recovery pace has been amazing for the squad. And whatever happens, I wish him well, because he's had some career. Imagine starting at Spurs, where he was a marauding fullback up and down, and then to sort of come to Man City, improve tactically, move into different positions. It's just been immense. And I just hope wherever he goes, if he does go in this window, it's somewhere he wants, because he deserves that.
Yeah, totally agree with that. What do you make of the signings, or possible signings, and the 2 heavily tipped to sign?
Marmoush is scoring goals for fun and assists this season, so that doesn't sort of surprise me, because they didn't really fill Alvarez when he sort of left. What that means for Jack Grealish, I don't know, but we'll have to wait and see. But they need players, they need energy in there. They certainly need another midfielder in there as well to help shore up. I wouldn't go as far to say as they're back. I would need more evidence against better opposition and over a period of time before I'd say they're back.
Well, even if they're starting in the right direction, a couple of wins, bit of confidence comes back, then a comfortable win in the FA Cup. It's not going to do them any harm, is it?
No, and he mentioned briefly McAtee with his hat-trick. He's a really impressive talent. He is. The way he glides, the way he can see a pass, the way he can finish it. And remember, he was on loan at Sheffield United, did really well there. You're always asking, can he make the step up? But he's one to keep your eye on as well, not just because he scored a hat-trick. I just think his technical ability moving forward, it could offer something. Man City obviously losing Oscar Bob at the start of the season started really well in pre-season, but to have McAtee sort of stepping up at the right moment, it's a great addition to have.
Yeah, it certainly is. They'll have tougher fixtures. In fact, there was a real shortage of any kind of surprises. Well, I think 17 Premier League clubs got through. The only one really beaten by a team from a lower league was Brentford, which surprised us all. They've been so good at home as well, losing to Plymouth, who obviously were parted company with Wayne Rooney just a couple of weeks ago. And Miron Muslic was named as the new Plymouth boss on Friday, and that would have given him quite a lift. I don't know whether he picked the team or was quite in charge of it, but what a result for Plymouth. And what a result in the draw for them, because they've now got a home game against Liverpool, the Premier League leaders.
I didn't see all of the game, but I saw the goal and I saw their reactions afterwards in front of their own fans. And it looks as if they had a fantastic day out. So they should enjoy it, man. Brilliant.
I would hope so. 1 win in 17 prior to that.
Wow. But that's what the FA Cup can do, can't it? That's why we love it so much. I think, again, for context, Brentford did rest a few, didn't they? I don't think Fleckham played and Buemo came on. Shada started, though, who's been impressive in the Premier League. Visser came on as well, but you'd thought with the squad that Brentford had, they'd have enough to see that game out, but no, it's just...
I think I might have to take some blame for this defeat.
Why? What did you say? What did you do?
No, because 3 days ago, I interviewed Thomas Frank for a piece that will be going out, I think, sometime towards the end of this week, where he came to my home and I cooked for him, and we had a big, deep interview about how great his season's been, and then off they go and they lose at home to Plymouth in the third round of the FA Cup. So I'll bear some responsibility for that. So my apologies, Bees
Thomas
fans.
Frank. He's poisoned him.
I poisoned him. I put something in the Dover sole that I cooked for him.
He won't be coming round again, will he? Oh.
No, he's never going to come to my house again now, is he ever? Because I'm a jinx. I've jinxed him.
Is Thierry cooking you something tonight, Micah?
I don't know what we're doing, actually. My commitment is to the pod. I don't know. I'm going to go upstairs afterwards and see what's on show, but yes. But the commitment to the pod is here.
Yeah, absolutely. A quick word on Tamworth Tottenham, purely because it went to extra time. And of course, Tamworth were at home. They were playing against Spurs. And a year or so ago, or any time before that in the history of the FA Cup, it would have been a replay for Tamworth at Tottenham Hotspur Stadium, which would have been special. It doesn't happen that often, but this was a situation where that would have happened. We still have extra time. Personally, I think if they're going to take away replays, they should take away extra time, because otherwise it really favours the strong teams, because they've got bigger squads and they can put on their best players in extra time, like Spurs did, and they went on to win. So I think that's unfair. They should, if they're going to do away with replays, which I think, to be honest, as much as it's a shame, but I think they need to find other way of supporting teams from lower divisions, lower leagues and non-league, etc. With, the pyramid needs to help out a little bit more. And the amount of football that players are playing now, they play in replays as well, is tough. So I understand why they're doing that, but do away with extra time as well, because it's even in the game today, all we wanted them's penalty shootout, isn't it, at the end? And it gives the teams
no VAR.
And VAR was nice to not have VAR.
Correct.
Although I think they'd have turned the penalty over, but so what?
Did you see the own goal that they scored as well, Tamworth, an extra time to go 1-0 down? It was so unlucky.
Shame. It was. They didn't get a replay, but they deserve a shout out. There's no question about that. Aside from that, I might mention Newcastle, comfortable win, and Leicester. All our teams won except for Arsenal for you, Micah, but...
I was trying to do the core comms while Newcastle are playing as well, and it kept flashing up on my phone, and then the guys in my ear were telling me, "Oh, Newcastle are 1 down." I'm thinking, I'm meant to fucking concentrate on this game. What are you telling me that for?
I was pleased with the Leicester result yesterday. I know it was QPR at home and that he should expect to win, but I was really pleased that he played a first team, because most teams fighting relegation at the bottom, they go, right, we'll throw the FA Cup, or not throw it, but they'll play completely second string. And you can understand why. But I was pleased because I think often if a team's going really well, they can do that in the Cup and lose momentum. And if a team's doing really badly, it drags down the morale even further if you play a reserve team and lose. But he played a strong team, and Leicester had an emphatic victory and might give them a bit of confidence in the forthcoming weeks. So this is see how I totally think positively.
Look at the tone in his voice. He's just changed, isn't it? You're very upbeat, aren't you?
Well, you won a game. It's been so long. It also makes me think we'll be all right in the Championship. What about the draw for the next round? The way it works with TV, by the way, is that it kind of alternates in terms of the first pick of games. I think we had it this round. ITV have it in the next round. They may choose, may choose Manchester United against Leicester, because that delivers big numbers, which is important for ITV because of the advertising revenue, etc. But there's some, really interesting games in there with lower league teams like Exeter against Nottingham Forest and Plymouth, which we've mentioned, playing against Liverpool. Then there's a big game between, Villa and Spurs. It will end up either Orient or Derby playing against Manchester City. So I think they're in the right way round. In this finished the draw for the third round, all the big teams were at home against the teams from lower leagues, weren't they? It's much better this way round, particularly for TV as well, because you can have a big game between big teams and also show a game between, maybe someone like Exeter against Forest, who are going so well in the Premier League, or certainly Plymouth, Liverpool's that's a
big one,
the beauty as well.
Great game, that is, yeah. Great for the.
If you could choose one, which would you like to do, guys? You could choose one fixture from the fourth round.
It's a long drive, but I haven't been down that part of the world for quite some time, and there's some great restaurants, and I might make 2 or 3 days of it. So Plymouth, Liverpool. But we get second pick, so if they choose that, then I'd want to watch Leicester play. Actually, I wouldn't, because they're too painful. So I'd probably maybe Orient or Derby versus Man City.
Yes, that's what I want.
None of you would fancy watching Birmingham against Newcastle?
Well, you can go to that one out. Didn't you say it's a bit of a bogey ground for you?
Yeah, I missed a penalty there once. I don't want to go there again.
What, to find the ball?
Yeah. No, he saved it.
Over the stand, was it?
No, he saved it.
Yeah, but they've got Tom Brady, They've got Tom Brady, the owner. It'll be all Hollywood there. It'll be a great day out, no?
Yeah. That's it. I mean, the thing is now, there are a lot of games that are picked, and there's enough games to go around to make it interesting, whether they, get 3 apiece. I'm not quite sure how many it is altogether. Some are on the, you can see them on iPlayer only, or BBC Two, or BBC. It's great, and ITV as well. It's a good place to finish. Little update. I mean, you'll all know this by the time it comes out, but Barcelona now 5-1 up. Rafinha has scored early in the second half. So there you go. Not bad. It's Barca. That's enough of that. Right, safe travels, Alan.
Thank you.
There, and give Thierry our very best, Micah.
I will do.
Okay, goodbye from me.
Goodbye from me.
Goodbye from me. Have a great week, everyone.